Welcome to another series of 88 Talks. I'm your host Ayan and I have Dion here. Hello Dion.
Hi Ayan.
With this
What's up?
beautiful 118?
Yes, the Premier 118 NE.
Yeah. So, what made you get this car? Like, you bought it?
So the story behind this car is pretty cool actually. It was owned by my dad's uncle. This is way back in the 90s. Just to give a gist of history here, he was a priest in Sakleshpur. And I think this was his go-to car when it came to moving around places, because Sakleshpur is a bit, it was a tiny town back then. Now obviously you have resorts and so on, and there were a lot of other smaller places, so he needed a car to move around. So he got this car. I'm not sure whether it's handed down, bought, or however, because he's no more sadly. But that was his go-to car. So that's where the journey began, where he got the car, used it around, but it also had a lot of problems, which he could not really fix because there weren't enough capable garages in Sakleshpur, Chikmagalur side to really look into fixing this car back in the day. Right around 2003 is where our family expanded. My sister was born, and then we had a family of 4, and we no longer could rely on a bike. We had a Suzuki Samurai, and we had needed to get a car. And at the same time, my dad's uncle needed to get rid of the car because he could not really maintain it. And that's how the car came to us. And ever since then, we have fixed it. This is in 2003.
So you have this car since 2003?
Yeah, it's been with us since 2003.
Okay. So it was in working condition back then, or?
So it was intermittently working, I would say. There were a lot of issues which he could not rectify. As soon as we got it down here, there's a well-known garage called Premier Land. It's no longer there, but back then it used to be the authorized service center for Fiats and Premiers. So he sort of looked into the car, end-to-end fixed it, ensured everything worked, and genuine guy. He got it to its best condition. This is way back in probably 2003-04 itself.
So this was a family car back in 2003?
Yes.
How long did you use it for? Like your dad used it?
We've had the car. So this has been our only car since 2003 till late until 2011.
2011?
Yeah, and the crazy part is we used to drive this car because it was the only car. We used to drive it for work, everything. My dad also started his own business, so this was his car to go to customer places, roam around here, there, and we used to also take it to Mangalore twice a year, sometimes thrice a year.
Any issues with the car while going to Mangalore? Probably the overheating issues.
Actually, no, we've not had any issues, to be honest. Even
that's great.
Something which I've also noticed. No issues while we are going. In fact, we have loaded this car properly with goods, people. We've had around like 6-7 people shoved into the car.
7?
7 people. Yeah, typical Mangalorean family, trying to get all family into one car and then going. So, car's been pretty much faithful. We have not had any issues per se. There's only, I think, once or twice it has just given up, but due to like small reasons which could have been fixed. And
But was this car parked for a long time later on or something?
Yeah, so after 2011 is when this car started becoming old. Evidently, it's 2011 and we have a car from the 90s.
Which year was it again?
This is 1991. Yeah.
So it had the CA plates?
I think it did, but I'm not sure because
before
even when we got it, you would have the 3 letters and 3 numbers and 4 numbers for so on. But what's happened is, I think it's been re-registered somewhere in its timeline. So when it came to us, it was already KA001 that is there on the car. So
nice. So again, after this, you bought another car. It was just that you parked this car, or you wanted to restore. You restored this car, right?
So the story goes this way: 2011. We had to get a new car. Then the hunt for a newer car started, and we settled on a Mahindra Xylo, which turned out to be a very faithful 7-seater big car and very comfortable.
As mentioned, you had 7 people in this car as well.
Yeah. So I had to accommodate, needed a car which had all seats.
Okay.
So Mahindra Xylo came home in 2011, and since then, my dad is not a car guy, but we continued using this car as a Sunday car. Like going, if we had to go to play cricket over the weekends with some family friends, we used to take this car, and anywhere else, small grocery runs. But slowly what happened, the Xylo was our go-to car because it had everything. It had AC working. This had AC, but we never used to use it much because it drops down the power,
Oh,
right?
yes.
So
That used to be the turbo button back then.
yeah,
AC
it
button
was
used to be the
drop
turbo.
the to get more power.
Yeah.
But Xylo slowly started becoming our only car. So then we started using this less often, and then at one point it was more or less starting it up once in 2 months, once in 3 months, and it was just lying. I was just parked outside our house, so slowly started taking a toll on the suspension as well because your pavement is this way, your car's sitting like this. So,
Okay.
yeah, that was there until I turned 18. So it was a pretty long time.
Until you turned 18.
Yeah.
So again, before restoring the car, was the car in a good shape or a bad shape, like the paint and the engine and all of that?
So I think just when we get for restoration, the notable things that were off
Is it the
with this
same
car.
place you gave it to for restoration?
Sorry.
The garage
No,
you
no,
spoke
no.
about.
So the situation was this. Let's say around 2018 is when we shifted to another apartment that we are now staying in, and while we had to move the car as well, and I think we started the car after a good 4 months of not using it. That's when we realized this car really needs to be restored, and
So
the
car
fact
has
that I
not
was
sat for more than a year.
actually longer, way longer.
Oh, okay.
But when you mean sat, I could start it up.
Okay.
I was not allowed to drive. Obviously, under 18, I couldn't drive really. But I could start it up outside my house, try to look after it. But I really could not move the car around. I could not do anything else. And I did not have the final say in getting it restored back then. And our main focus was business and so on. So it's only in 2018 is when we thought, okay, it's time to really step by step do everything up. The engine was pretty much okay, but it did need some work because it especially in cold conditions, especially when it's raining, the engine would die down. It wouldn't really run, and apart from that, the car was just rusted. So the underbody was rusted beyond recognition. So that was how it is. Interior, you had a lot of bits open, but that was general condition when we gave for restoration.
How long was it for the restoration?
The restoration in itself took around, I think, 2.5, 3 years, which is a lot. I think 2.5 years, it's a lot. But that's
Was that
owing
like,
to
too challenging for you for parts and all of that? Or you took it as a project, one day it'll be a good result for me?
No, so to be honest, it was not on my hands. It was the garage.
Okay.
But the garage I gave it to was also, he did good jobs in certain areas. But most of the time it was just delays. And I think
Has
that's a
the
normal
engine
thing.
ever been opened?
Yes, it has.
Oh.
So the engine has been opened and restored on. But it was pretty much minor works, not something major. And I think before I gave it to the complete restoration, where I'd given it to another garage, I don't want to take that name, but I had given it to another garage to restore it. Before that, our known mechanic who used to work for Premier Land had actually come worked on the engine. So the engine was pretty much smooth, and even while restoring the car completely, we had no works required on the engine. This is a Nissan-sourced engine, so it's a 1.1 liter engine. So it's called 118 NE. The NE stands for Nissan engine. So it's pretty smooth and very soft. It's a nice engine.
Did these cars come with diesel engines back then?
Yeah, it did come with diesel. So to give a brief history of the engines that came with the 118 NE. So the petrols came with the Nissan engine, and the diesels got the Peugeot engine. And the diesels came much later. It was called the 137. And then later they got the Viceroy, which was a little final, the end of the 118 run. That was more or less the engine side of things for this car.
What's unique about the car?
There are a couple of things unique actually. In general, for 118, the speedo, it starts from 10 kilometers per hour. It doesn't start from 0. It also has a clock. It has a quartz clock, which is actually amazing. And this model has a cup holder back in the day, and it's actually broken at the moment. I'm trying to get it 3D printed, but that is something unique. And then something unique to this specific car, I put metal bumpers on the front and back. This is a
came with a metal bumper?
No, it did not. It
Oh,
came with plastic bumpers, but I think back when my dad had it, when I was really small, we planned to get a metal bumper on it. So the benefit was, there was one time where this car came, he hit us because he was a little going too fast. And he came to apologize to us, saying, "I'm sorry, I hit your car." And we were like, "You know what? I think it's okay. you might want to check your car right now. So that's been the modifications that we have done to this. Apart from that, nothing much. I've changed the interiors. The front two seats are not stock. They are they were
With an
changed
air
long back.
freshener.
Yeah, air freshener is a must. So and slowly I want to add tiny details to this car, but keeping it original as possible.
It's a rear-wheel drive.
Yeah, this is rear-wheel drive, so it's
Does it
proper
have a
fun car.
LSD?
Yeah. No, but the car's actually pretty. The power to the rear wheels is insane. So in my basement, if there's water puddles, right, the car tends to really slip. And even before the restoration, I was taking a U-turn once and I just let the clutch go, and the car literally slid to some extent. And it has immense power.
Though.
Yeah, the tires are pretty thin, so you can imagine power going to that.
Planning to upgrade the tires or the wheels?
At the moment,
Endurance.
no, because I've just got the hubcaps. So these are original hubcaps for the 118NE, and they look beautiful. They were suit the car. So I don't intend to change the wheels yet. I mean, it's a long run, so let's see.
Do you attract any attention on the streets with this car? Probably not the Gen Z kids. For sure, for them it's just a vintage car or probably an old car. What kind of crowd do you attract if you do?
So this car, the beauty of classic cars is that it's very approachable. So you have people straight from auto drivers to people in high-end cars who, all in all, just look at it in awe. They come, they open their window.
For them ki they had this car back then.
Yeah, back then. And even for many people, they remember this car back in the day, because if you go back to the 90s, late 80s, early 90s, there were only 3 types of cars. Your Padmini, Ambassador, and this. And apart from this, there were many other cars as well.
Contessas as well, right?
Contessas as well, yeah. But among these 4 cars, anything else was pretty much rare. And your Ambassadors and Padmini were everywhere. Contessas and 118s were pretty rare. So people do reminiscence, looking at this car back in the day. And they sort of look at it with that same awe, saying that, okay, someone's actually kept it neat. So that's the attention.
A youngster has actually kept it clean. It's not an old man, bro. Because youngsters don't like, giving a shot. Probably you had a memory with this car and you want to prolong it.
True, because this has been the car I've grown up with. This has been the car I've learned to drive in.
Okay.
And
this one has the gear knob on the steering wheel?
No, it's just the direct gear knob. And it's actually directly connected to the transmission. It's not, chained up to, there's no links to the transmission. It's it's directly to the transmission.
How difficult is it to get parts for this at present?
It's a 50-50 scenario. There are some parts where you can actually get it quite easily. There are a lot of contacts around India, Kolkata, Bombay.
Used parts.
Yeah, used, and sometimes you get new as well, new packed items. Yeah, you do. Most of them you can get it used, but there are a lot of parts that are shared sometimes. You get it from other Indian manufacturers as well. So you can sort of retrofit it. For now, because I've just dealt with the restoration, I've not really faced a scenario where I had to get parts. But yeah, I've got a couple of contacts which I've not tried them yet, but I've heard that you can actually get a lot of parts for this. It's not very easy, but you can still get it. It's not the end of the world.
What kind of maintenance does this car need for a 30-year-old car by now?
Yeah.
What kind of
so
maintenance?
couple of things. Number one is, regardless of the age of the car, you drive it as if it's a brand new, luxury car of such sort. So what do I mean is, you have bad roads. Maybe your suspension is new, but take it easy. Oil, ensure to change it every 10,000 kilometers or even less.
The odo's working, right?
Yeah, the odo's working.
Oh, the odo's
working. So everything's working. So that, and then you need to put this grade of oil that is used on this car specifically. This is non-synthetic. I think 20W50 or 20W60 is what I use. Yeah, you need to ensure that you drive this more like a supercar. You don't really take it into any narrow roads, any shortcuts. Yeah, you have a lot of. It's a good car. You can take it anywhere, but that doesn't necessarily mean you push it to its limits.
Nice. Such an old car, bro. Has this car taught you anything while restoration?
To be honest, yeah. Actually, it's taught me a lot about this. So what I've understood is, in old cars, it's easy to get frustrated and say, you know, you're not getting this part, you're not getting that part. And sometimes, you know, the car may throw you some issues, throw issues at you. But, you know, it has taught me to learn and figure it out and, you know, understand what the car is trying to tell you and then work on it. It's easy to, you know, give it off and to a garage and say, you know, I'll change this, I'll change that. But to be honest, actually, older cars are much easier to work on. Sometimes the problem is very simple. You just have to understand, look deep, take your time, have that patience to know what you're dealing with, and, you know, you can work on it on your own. Some of the things. So that's what it's taught me about. There's nothing that cannot be solved. You can also learn about cars that way.
Interesting, man. What's the funniest part of the car? Do you have any like funniest part or the moment?
That's a good question. Funniest part.
Don't tell me the sound.
So I have a recent scenario which was quite interesting and adventurous.
Okay.
I was driving down with another friend, Arjun. I think you guys know him.
Oh,
Arjun
yes.
Biseg. And then as we're going down the road, I press the throttle and I get no response from the engine. And then I felt it very strange. I immediately pulled up to this petrol bunk that was there. And while I was there, I realized that the throttle cable had snapped. So the throttle cable connects to the pedal and that has snapped. Now there's no way I can actually get the throttle cable out and, you know, tie it to the pedal in such a way that mechanism works. It's already cut short. So the interesting bit was, what do I do, right? That's again coming back to the earlier questions you asked. So immediately I started looking and understanding what the problem was. Realized that the throttle cable was short enough that I could not really pull it in my hand even if I wanted to. So the next question was, what can I do? So I wanted to find something to tie it up with and get it out.
Don't tell me you put zip ties, bro.
No, I'll come to it. So thanks to our Bangalore infrastructure, I think there was some cable laying work going on. And I found the exact same spec of my throttle cable right there on the ground.
Oh shit.
So now it was only the matter of getting this cable, tying it to my cable. But these are like, you know, thick strands. It's not really easy to tie it up. So I realized what we do in my company, it's an automotive company, is we crimp wires. It's called crimping. So I had to go to JC Road immediately, get a lug. It's like a metal piece, which you can put both wires inside. And then you need to, yeah, you can, if you have a screw, you can screw it, but this basically you need to, there's a crimping tool, you have to push it in.
Okay.
Basically locking both in place.
That's for the wiring, right? Oh,
yeah.
yes.
So we didn't have a crimping tool, so we used a cutting plier, put enough force, and then zip ties after that to hold everything in tight. And I could not get it to the pedal. So I ended up driving from, I think, central Bangalore to JP Nagar to a known garage by, you know, using the throttle cable by hand. So it was funny because while I was driving, there were a lot of people looking at the car and they're like, okay, wow, that's a nice classic car. And here I am holding a throttle cable like this, and I'm just like, what is this guy trying to do? And I'm just trying to pull it.
Is that kind of challenging when you're driving? Because see, at present generation, you have cars which are very easy to drive.
Yeah.
These cars are easy, but come with a few problems as well. So are you used to like driving new cars and you find this a little problematic at times?
To be honest, see, the two cars I have is this and the Xylo. The Xylo is like a big diesel truck and this is like an old manual steering car. I love the seats on this car. Okay, this car is pretty comfortable to sit in. And you're not going to believe it, for a 30-year-old car and actually for a classic car, this has the smoothest gearbox. Smoothest transmission. And it was known, yeah, it's a 4-speed. It was known to have the smoothest transmission back in the day. Even now you sit, you can press the clutch is easy. You can pull it in like a finger or 2 fingers. It just slots into gear. It's very easy. So the only hard bit then is the steering. The steering is a manual steering, no power steering. You do get used to it because once you roll, it's easier to turn. But when you're stationary, turning it is a pain. But see, newer cars, they're easy to drive. Yeah, you don't get a headache after a long day's drive. But, you know, with the newer car, it's pretty much going from A to B. You're surrounded with, you know, cabin insulation, music, comfortable seats. You don't have to worry about anything.
Do you have a music system in this?
Currently, no. I'll be getting it. But the beauty of this is you have a certain level of joy you get while driving, you know, an old car. So that is fun at the
Old
end
car
of the
with
day.
4 people in it, bro. It looks totally different on the street because I've seen you a couple of times in near Lavelle Road and all of that.
Yeah.
You look out of the box. I'm like, who is this guy, dude?
It's fun to drive, and it's really, I mean, anywhere, even city drives, anywhere I go, it just puts a smile on your face. I really love it.
What's the last thing you would want to say about your car? Like, if she could hear you, what was the last thing you'd ever
thing.
say?
Last thing. If I die or the car dies, that's the question.
Anyone? Give me both.
Both scenarios. If the car dies, I'd just be very sad, I think, to be honest.
See, it's the car
But I
doesn't
would
make
not
it
give up on it. I
Okay.
just work on it to the end. But I don't have any words. I think I would be speechless. That's my answer, because I cannot define this car with a single syllable, with a single sort of word, adjective, something like that. This car has left me speechless. It's beautiful in many ways. It's amazing in many ways. It's very unique in its own way. So
basically, you have a personal attachment towards the car. So
Yeah.
you don't want to even let it go.
exactly.
So ever if you get an offer, you wouldn't let it go though.
I've got offers, but it's right here.
That was crazy, bro. That was nice talking to you about this car. Thank you so much for being at our podcast.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thanks a lot.
See
It was
you soon.
amazing.